welcome to HaYam's 2021 Purim Shpiel. We are so glad to have you with us tonight. So let's head to Shushan, Persia. Join me in singing the opening song, To the Shpiel. When Purim comes and Haman's making you nervous, you can always go to the Shpiel. When you got worries, all the noise and the costumes seem to help, I know. At the Shpiel, just listen to the music as we tell the Purim story. Linger at the Havurah, the details won't be gory. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter here. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your fears. So go to the Shpiel. Things will be great when you're at the Shpiel. No finer place for sure. The Shpiel. Everyone's waiting for you. The Shpiel, the Shpiel. Don't hang around and let your problems surround you. There are silly songs at the Shpiel. Maybe you'll know some of the heroes who are there right where they belong. At the Shpiel, there's Vashti and there's Morty, there's the king and all the beauties. Wicked spies and Haman, and there's Esther, she's a cutie, waiting for you. The lights are much brighter here. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your fears. So go to the Shpiel. Things will be great when you're at the Shpiel. No finer place for sure. The Shpiel. Everyone's waiting for you. The Shpiel. Everyone's waiting for you.
Long ago there was a king named Ahasuerus, ruler of the Persians. So mighty was he that his domain extended from Ethiopia to India, and he ruled over 127 provinces. Now it happened once that King Ahasuerus ordered a feast in Shushan, his capital, and he invited all the princes and governors of all his provinces. For 7 days he showed off his riches and ate and drank with his guests. When the feasting was at its height, and the king was quite drunk, he began to boast. Anything that he had, he said, was the best in the world. His horses were the best, his jewels the finest, his gardens the most luxurious. And your queen? Asked the princes. Queen Vashti, replied Ahasuerus, was the most beautiful woman in the whole world. To prove it, he would order her to appear at once, dressed only in her royal crown. The queen was deeply insulted and refused to appear. Her husband, who saw the princes giggling behind their wine goblets, was infuriated. He ordered Vashti driven from the palace, and he banished her from the kingdom. She was not surprised at his reaction, but let's hear what Vashti has to say about all this.
Once I was queen of Persia so proud, my role I adored, I delighted the crowd. I did what I could to make Achash so glad. Now one small refusal and he's fighting mad. Only a crown, otherwise bare. My husband commanded that I should appear. Dance in the nude for his drunken friends, or else I would come to a very bad end. I hemmed and I hawed, what was I to do? My options were bad, either one I would rue. Were I to refuse, hold my head up high, my dignity might mean that I'd have to die. What would you do if presented this choice? Would you perform meekly or lift up your voice? I made my decision, the right one I know. It's important to know when you have to say no. I'm leaving him now. For myself I will fend.
Now King Ahasuerus found himself very lonely and tried to console himself. Let's let the king tell you all about his woes.
I've been looking for a new queen just since yesterday. I've been drinking in the palace just to pass the time away. Can't you see that I am lonely? No one's at my side. Can't you see that I am livid? My patience has been tried. Vashti wouldn't dance, Vashti wouldn't dance, Vashti wouldn't dance in the nude. Vashti wouldn't dance, Vashti wouldn't dance, Vashti wouldn't dance in the nude. Send for all the beauties in the kingdom. Find someone to sit upon the throne. Send for all the beauties in the kingdom. Then I won't be all alone. For she will be my newfound mate. That will be her fate. Be my newfound mate. I can hardly wait.
The king decided to issue a proclamation. And here is his proclamation. Hear ye, all the fairest maidens of the land are to gather before the king Ahasuerus. They are to come from all provinces of the kingdom and gather in Shushan. The one who King Ahasuerus finds most pleasing will be made queen in place of Vashti. Hundreds upon hundreds of contestants are expected to participate and parade before the king. Look, there come some of them now. Oh, they're so beautiful. Look, they're arriving already. Let's welcome them with a song.
Here they come from so far and wide. They all want to be the new bride. Their beauty they won't hide inside. Who will be the king's bride? For they have high hopes. They have high hopes. They have high in the sky apple pie hopes. They dream of royal luxury, and soon they'll see who will be the new queen. Here they come now, who will be? Here they come now, who will be? Here they come now, who will be seen? They're the fairest ones in the land. They'll do all the king will demand. They won't support a bandstand. Palace life will be grand, for they have high hopes. They have high hopes. They have high in the sky apple pie hopes. They dream of royal luxury, and soon we'll see who will be the new queen. Here they come, their beauty now. Here they come, their beauty now. Here they come, their beauty now will be seen.
Now here, there was a royal palace at Shushan, a certain Jew named Mordecai, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captives by Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylonia. He had adopted Esther, his uncle's daughter, after her father and her mother died. The maiden was very beautiful. When the king's command was made known, among the many maidens brought to the royal palace at Shushan was Esther. Esther had not revealed who her people were or her family, for Mordecai warned her not to tell. When Esther's turn came to go into the king, he was immediately stricken with her beauty. Ahasuerus loved her more than all the other women. He placed the royal crown on her head, and he made her queen of all instead of Vashti. In those days, while Mordecai was sitting in the king's gate, 2 of the king's servants who guarded the entrance of the palace plotted to kill King Ahasuerus. And here they are now. And boy, did they have an evil plan.
Hey, Big Thun,
Yeah, Derish.
what do you think we ought to be doing about that king?
I think we ought to be going over the river and through the gates to murder the king we go. We each know the way, so now we will pay. Our plans have been made just so. Over the river and through the gates, the king, his time has come. He is a fool and we'll be cool when our plan is finally done. Over the river and through the gates, his death will be so much fun. A knife to the chest, perhaps that is best. Much easier than a gun. Over the river and through the gates, the guards we will elude. An hour from now we'll party and how? We're in a killing mood.
When Mordecai learned of the plot, he told Queen Esther, and she told the king in Mordecai's name. When the truth was known, the men who plotted against the king were both hanged on a tree, and the incident was written down in the daily record of events that was kept before the king. It was at this time that King Ahasuerus promoted Haman and gave him a place above all the princes who were with him. All the king's servants who were in the king's gate bowed down before Haman, for so the king had commanded. But Mordecai, being a Jew, would not bow down before Haman. Haman was very angry. He decided to plot to destroy all the Jews in the kingdom of Ahasuerus. Haman told King Ahasuerus, "There are a certain people in the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws differ from those of every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws. Let an order be given to destroy them, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the royal treasury." The king took up his ring and gave it to Haman and said, "The money is yours, and the people also, to do with them as you wish." Haman couldn't help but sing around the good fortune.
I have often strolled down this street before, but the sand grains always stayed beneath my feet before. For the king said yes to my nastiness. Now I'll kill all the Jews in this land. They're my enemies, and I hate them so. They are disrespectful of me, so they'll have to go. That guy Mordecai will be first to die. Oh, I'll kill all the Jews in this land. And oh, the towering feeling, just to know that I will succeed. The overpowering feeling that to my will all of the Jews will one day heed. people stop and glare, they don't bother me. For there's no one else on earth that I would rather be. Don't get in my way. Haman's here to stay. I'll get rid of the Jews in this land.
Messages then were sent to all the king's provinces to destroy all the Jews on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is Adar.
When Mordecai learned all that had been done, he tore his clothes and put ashes on his head as a sign of mourning. And he went out into the city and raised a loud and bitter cry of sorrow. He went as far as the king's gate and lamented, and all the people lamented with him.
I think we need to hear Mordecai's side of this story.
When Haman was in front of me, I would not bow down, not head, not chest, not bended knee. I would not bow down, no bow. Haman, Jews don't bow in Persia land, so I tell you, we will not bow down. Only for God we genuflect. I will not bow down. Your threat on me has no effect. I would not bow down. We stand, Haman, Jews throughout, O Persia land, so I tell you, we will not bow down. He screamed, he yelled, he made a scene. I will not bow down. So now he's got a plan that's mean. I will not bow down. Death plus all Jews, those who live in Persia land. So I tell you, we will not bow down. My niece, the queen, will save the day. I will not bow down. Your evil plot fades into gray. I will not bow down. No bow. Haman, Jews don't bow in Persia land. So I tell you, we will not bow down.
When Esther's maids and servants told her about Mordecai's wailing, she was greatly troubled. She sent one of her servants to learn what this meant. The servant went to Mordecai, who told him all that had happened. And Mordecai told the servant to urge Esther to go to the king and plead with Ahasuerus for her people.
The servant reported back to Esther all that Mordecai had said. She then commanded the servants to tell Mordecai, "Death is the punishment for anyone who goes to the king unless he calls them. Now for 30 days I have not been called to go into the king." When Mordecai was told what Esther had said, he sent back this answer to Esther. "Do not think that you alone of all the Jews will escape because you belong to the king's household. If you keep silent at this time, help will come to the Jews from somewhere else. Who knows? Perhaps you have been raised to the throne for an emergency like this."
Then Esther sent this message to Mordecai. "Go, gather all the Jews in Shushan and fast for me. Do not eat or drink anything for 3 days and nights. I and my maids will fast also, and I will go into the king, although it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish."
Mordecai went away and did as Esther directed.
On the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the royal palace opposite the king's house. Let's hear what Esther is thinking.
"This plan is my plan. I'll make a strong stand. I will trick Haman and save our homeland. It will take courage. It will take chutzpah. This plan is going to save the Jews. My uncle told me of all the trouble. I must get going right on the double. As queen, I'm able to meet this challenge. This plan is going to save the Jews. This plan is my plan. I'll make a strong stand. I will trick Haman and save our homeland. It will take courage. It will take chutzpah. This plan is going to save the Jews. A dinner party, good food and fine wine. The king and Haman will have a grand time. Then I'll beg mercy for all my people. This plan is going to save the Jews. This plan is my plan. I'll make a strong stand. I will trick Haman and save our homeland. It will take courage. It will take chutzpah. But this plan is going to save the Jews.
The king then held out to her the golden scepter that was in his hand. Esther went up and touched the tip of the scepter. Then the king said to her, "Whatever you wish, Queen Esther, and whatever you ask, it shall be granted, even to the half of my kingdom."
Esther replied, "Let the king and Haman come today to the feast that I have prepared for him."
And the king said, "Bring Haman quickly, that Esther's wish may be granted."
So the king and Haman went to the feast that Esther had prepared, and she then invited them to come to another feast on the following day.
Haman went out that day joyfully and happy. But when he saw Mordecai in the king's gate and noticed that he neither stood up nor moved for him, he was furiously angry with Mordecai. Haman went home and told his friends and Zeresh, his wife. Queen Esther brought no one with the king to the feast, which she had prepared but me. And tomorrow also I am invited by her along with the king. Yet all this does not satisfy me, as long as I see Mordecai, the Jew, sitting at the king's gate.
Then Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends said to him, "Let a gallows 75 feet high be built, and in the morning speak to the king and let Mordecai be hanged on it. Then go merrily with the king to the feast." This advice pleased Haman, and he had the gallows built.
That night the king was unable to sleep. He gave orders to bring him the books that told of great deeds, and they were read before the king. And in them was written how Mordecai had told about the 2 servants of the king who had tried to kill King Ahasuerus. Then the king said, "How has Mordecai been honored and rewarded for this?" The king's courtiers replied, "Nothing has been done for him." The king demanded, "Who is in the court? I need advice." Now Haman had just entered the outer court of the king's house to speak to the king about hanging Mordecai on the gallows he had prepared for him. So the king's courtiers said to him, "Haman is standing there in the court." The king commanded, "Let him enter." Haman entered, and the king asked him, "What shall be done to the man whom the king delights to honor?" Haman thought to himself, "Whom besides me does the king delight to honor?" So Haman said to the king, "Whomever the king wishes to honor should be dressed in the king's royal robes and be led through the streets upon the king's horse." Then the king said to Haman, "Make haste and take the garment and the horse, as you have said, and do thus to Mordecai the Jew, who sits in the king's gate." Haman obeyed the king.
He has become a hero throughout Persia land. He heard the spies a-plotting and spoiled their big plan. Oh, Morty, 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 around the town you'll ride. You saved our Achashverus, your deed can't be denied. The king bestowed this honor, it was Haman's idea. And grudgingly he'll lead you as all the people cheer. Oh, Morty, 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 around the town you'll ride. You saved our Achashverus, your deed can't be denied. Oh, Morty, 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 around the town you'll ride. You saved our Achashverus, your deed can't be denied.
Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his house, mourning with his head covered. Zeresh tried to comfort her husband and warn him not to go to the king's dinner that night. Then the king's servants came and escorted Haman to the feast that Esther had prepared. Alas, poor Zeresh was left alone to pine over her lover, Haman. Oh, how she missed him. But let's hear what Zeresh has to say about the situation.
Hey man, why do you have to go? You know how much I love you and that I'll miss you so. Hey man, who knows what Esther will do? You may think that I am crazy, but I'm so worried about you. And now suddenly I get the feeling that you won't be coming back to me. I wish that I could make you stay here, for together we should always be. Hey man, you are the love of my life. Why must you go to the palace? Why don't you listen to your wife?
The king and Haman went to eat and drink with Queen Esther, and the king said to Esther, "Whatever you ask, Queen Esther, it shall be granted you, even to half of my kingdom." Queen Esther answered, "If I have one favor, O king, and if it seems best to the king, let my life and my people be spared at my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, to be killed, and to perish." King Ahasuerus said to Queen Esther, "Who is he, and where is he who dares to do this?" Esther answered, "A foe, an enemy, this wicked Haman." Haman shrank in terror before the king and queen. One of those who waited on the king said, "There, standing in the courtyard of Haman's house, is the gallows, 75 feet high, which Haman built for Mordecai." The king said, "Hang Haman on the gallows." So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai, and the wrath of the king was quieted. King Ahasuerus then made Mordecai one of the king's advisors. The king also drew off his signet ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. On the 14th day of the month of Adar, the Jews rested and made it a day of feasting and rejoicing. Therefore, the Jews keep the 14th day of the month of Adar as the day of rejoicing and feasting and a holiday, and as a day on which they send gifts to one another and to the poor. And so we come to the end of another Shpiel.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope you have enjoyed our little bit of silliness. And a special thank you to all the Purim readers and singers for their support, and especially to Sonny Paradeshi for his technical assistance in making all this work. Now let's close our Purim Shpiel by singing the Hamantashen song together. Oh, poppy, prune, and apricot, come eat some Hamantashen. Now's the time to celebrate, it's time to do some noshin'. This year's Shpiel is history, our silly bit of droshin'. Poppy, prune, and apricot, come eat some Hamantashen. Yum diddle little little yum diddle I, yum diddle little little yum diddle I. Just when we thought we were goners, Esther saved the day. Now we all can celebrate because we're here to stay. Haman and his relatives may try and try again, but we have right on our side, so you know we're gonna win. Oh, poppy, prune, and apricot, come eat some Hamantashen. Now's the time to celebrate, it's time to do some noshin'. This year's Shpiel is history, our silly bit of droshin'. Poppy, prune, and apricot, come eat some Hamantashen. Poppy, prune, and apricot, come eat some Hamantashen. See you in Shushan, Persia next year. Bye.